Hello, welcome back to the farm. Today, we're gonna plant bush beans, snap beans. We've got about 100-foot row to plant. This is the row we're gonna plant it in, and if you look very closely, you can see we have sweet potatoes in the row beside it. Now, why would I do it like that? If any of you have grown sweet potatoes, you understand that sweet potatoes, once they get going, will sprawl. You're gonna have leaves everywhere. Bush beans will be in and out in about 60 days. That's about the same time frame I need that space for the sweet potatoes. So we put our beans next to the sweet potatoes. That's reason number one. Reason number two, this particular area is where we grew corn last year. Beans will fix nitrogen to the soil. Hence, we need to build some soil with these, so we're gonna do that. Last thing, reason why we're growing beans at all in the spring. Now, understand, we can grow beans here up until the beginning of September and still get them out before we have our first frost. Normally. But if I plant beans early in the spring and knock them out and get all the beans we need for the year, well, I'm done. But let's just say something catastrophic happens. Something, tears up the beans. We have, horse run through, whatever it is. We have something that screws up our beans. Well, it gives me the opportunity to replant and still have enough for the following year. Okay, before we go out to the field, we need to make sure we have the proper seed plate. Now, we're gonna use for our Haas Garden Cedar a number 6 plate for beans. Now, bean seeds come in different sizes, so it's important that you do this step. So let me show you how to do it. You can see I got my number 6 generic seed plate, and we've got some beans right here. So what you do is you take a bean and you put it in the hole. That looks pretty good. Let's take another one. Pretty good. Now, I'll be honest with you, I had problems with this last year. This was our first year last year with this new cedar, and it does have a learning curve. So this looks like a perfect fit for our blue lake bush beans. So that much is good to go. One other test we're going to do with the cedar before we go to the field. You can see I got the cedar up on the picnic table. Let's not tell Mrs. Possum Ridge Farms. I had the proper seed plate, the number 6 plate, in there. And what we're going to do is we're going to put some seeds in and watch them drop through the coulter into the top, which it normally covers that. So let's grab us some seed, not too many. Put a little bit in here, a little bit in there. And now we're good to go. Make sure our cover is so we'll catch the seed. Seed's expensive, regardless of where you get it from. And now we're going to turn this and watch the seeds fall, hopefully. That's exactly what's going on. And they are dropping, you can hear it, but they're dropping every which way, which is exactly what we want to happen. Now we're going to set our depth. And if you notice, you'll see this wheel coming up as I turn this. I am not thrilled with their markings on this particular cedar. So what we're going to do is we're going to raise it, the front wheel, and everything's straight to 3/4 of an inch or so, which is about where we need to be. So now we're good to go. There's several different varieties you can plant. For years we planted top crop. Top crop is easy to grow. Matter of fact, beans in general are easy to grow. If you're one of those people that can't grow beans, well, you might rethink your gardening career. But today we're going to plant Blue Lake. Blue Lake to us is the tastiest kind of bean. Now, there's a bush bean and a pole bean. We plant bush bean varieties. Why? Because we can put it in a cedar. We can put it down. We don't have any trellising. We can bring the grandkids out here. They'll pick all the beans we want and we'll be done. We'll get maybe 4 picks, usually 3 or 4, sometimes a 5th. It just depends on the kind of year you're having. So, Blue Lake bush. I'm gonna put them in the ground. Let me show you how. First thing, let's look at our rows. We raise everything on raised beds. We've talked about this before. The primary reason why we raise everything on raised rows, prepared with our row builder, by the way, we've got numerous row builder videos out there, is simply we have wild weather swings here. We might get 6 inches of rain in an hour or so, and this would be normally flooded out. And if this was all flat ground, we would have major problems. What happens is the water flows between the rows and it doesn't affect our crop. The only downside to raised rows are when you are putting in seed, you need to do it somewhere around the time that the weather is going to rain for a few days, hence the next, after this afternoon, it's supposed to rain for a week here. Or if you put them down, you got to make sure you water them. These things dry out really quick. It rained a day and a half ago, and now I'm planting. That would never happen with flat ground. As you can see, I got my tools for getting straight rows. Man, that wind is blowing. Hopefully you understand the reason for having straight rows. We use a tractor here for cultivation. During the summertime, I'll just run the tractor down through with cultivator and weed all this. But let's say you don't do it that way. Let's just say you have a wheel hoe or a regular hoe, stirrup hoe, whatever you have. It's still easier to work when the row is straight. So straight rows are critical. I go down and I see people's gardens and their rows are doing all this stuff. I'm like, good Lord, how do you keep that weeded? And generally they tell me not very well or not at all. So let's put down some string, make sure we get a straight row. I prefer heavy string. This is a deal for kids and kites, but this heavy string with this spooler will certainly pay for itself in time saved. I got a bunch of wood stakes and we'll just walk down the row until I get to the end, and we will tie this to a stake I'll have down there. Got a crowd come up to watch me. This is our main herd sire, Bob. He's a Hereford, and he's provided calves for years. He's probably 10 years old, and he is pretty docile. He is nice to be around, assuming he don't want to play with you. If he wants to play, there's a couple 1,000 pounds worth of cow wants to, well, it's not easy to play fetch with, let's just say. I hope you can see this, but that string is pretty doggone straight. Camera's not, but the string is. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our cedar and run it right down beside that string. But you can see that we're dropping seeds at a pretty good rate. And we're pretty much just done. We're gonna use triple 15 and put down over our bean seeds we just put in. Why triple 15? Well, there's a story behind that. We've used triple 10, triple 13, triple 15, even triple 17. But when Russia invaded Ukraine, everybody was screaming about there was going to be a major fertilizer shortage, which basically has not happened. But we've got some friends in the fertilizer / seed / feed business that told us we better get it now. And so we did, and yeah, the price has gone up a good bit, but we still got plenty. So that's how we got a whole bunch of triple 15 and some high nitrogen fertilizers too, 3700, 2800, that sort of thing. Using my highly calibrated arm, we can kind of see where the cedar went, but I leave the string on so that I don't mess that up. You get to be my age, you have a tendency to mess up a little bit. But away we go. So we're getting the triple 15 down, looking good. Notice we're not putting a whole lot down. We will put fertilizer down about every 2 weeks throughout the growing season. But I just want to get them up and get them a good start. We're supposed to have massive rains, of course, tonight. Massive as in at least an inch or two. And, with the way the winds are blowing, and they're having tornadoes up north, so, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me to get a bunch more. We're ready one way or the other. And that's really about all there is to growing beans. Now, we do grow pole beans from time to time, but usually it's just bush beans. If I have extra time and I want to put up some trellising and that kind of stuff, I'll put in some pole beans. Pole beans are generally more prolific, but because I can plant so many more bush beans, and the time it takes me to put up and take down trellis, to me it's a no-brainer. If you're gonna grow 1, 2, 3 things in your garden, make sure, you know, beans are one of them. Again, we like the Blue Lake here. But try a few different varieties and see what you like. Let me know if you have any questions or comments. Please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Until next time.